No, Andrew, no. He's fine.
What?
No.
So what happened on Wednesday?
Batman didn't believe in God, so they went up to where God was, and Batman was acting like he was about to fart.
Batman was about to act like he was going to fart?
No, I can tell you.
All right, what can you tell me?
So, Superman and Spider-Man and Batman were on the stage, and Batman didn't believe in that God was God was risen.
Okay.
And they flew up to where God was, and then Superman told Batman to look in where see if God was in there.
Okay.
And then Batman went in to look in there, and God wasn't in there. And then Batman finally believed.
Batman finally believed that God existed? That's awesome, yes.
So like, I'm just secretly did it. Superman.
I wish.
You forgot what you're going to say? I'm going to ask this nice gentleman, what do you got to add?
Please, Mike.
Yeah?
There is Superman.
Right? So Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. That's a weird mix. Yeah?
Superman.
Yeah? All right. So I guess we have a question.
Go ahead, Andrew.
All right.
Andrew's got some questions
Andrew's
about
got
the
some
skit.
questions.
All right. He's Superman. What? Okay. What did the skipper?
The black
What was the skipper in the middle of doing?
The
Somebody raise their hand. Junior,
The black hair.
fix the lighthouse. Yeah. All right. What were some of the workers saying? Lord. Do you know?
Pay attention.
No. It's never gonna. Okay. Never gonna work. And what did the skipper say about their faith? Angel? Huh? You forgot what you were gonna say. Anybody else? Michael?
I wear my sister's mask.
Okay.
And it lights up and has blood on it.
Yep. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Well, they said that they had to have faith like a what? Like a
See?
seed. Seed. So that brings up today's message.
Faith like a mustard seed. How many of you guys have ever
What?
seen?
There's no mustard seeds.
Oh yes, there is a mustard seed.
There's a mustard seed.
Let's think of a mustard
Well,
seed.
even if
Okay, well let's ask. Let's take a poll first. How many of you think a mustard seed is something big or something small? How many of you guys say something big?
nothing. Wait, it's a nothing.
No, size of a mustard seed. How many of you think a mustard seed is big? How many of you think a mustard seed is small?
It is.
Mr. Doug, do you know what size of a mustard seed?
Okay, mustard seed is very, very tiny. It's very, very
You
tiny.
can't see it, just let me.
Well, you can see it, but they're very, very small, and it takes time, and it grows, and then mustard.
Yeah.
It's
See, faith like a
mustard.
mustard seed.
Mustard just
Big.
moves down the
Come on, pay attention to Pastor Austin.
Like Mr. Doug said, a mustard seed, boys and girls, is teeny, teeny, tiny, teeny, 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 tiny, tiny, teeny, 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 tiny, teeny, tiny. So, it's a very small seed, but what were you guys, if you guys were paying attention, what did Mr. Doug say? They planted the mustard seed, and then what happened? He just told you. Elijah?
It takes its time and it grows and grows and grows and it
Yeah, and then it grows and grows and grows, and it turns into mustard. And then they put it in the bottles, and you put it on hot dogs and hamburgers. Hey!
All right.
No, it's fine. I'll have to put new tape all over this place.
You know, the cool thing is we were all like mustard seeds at one point ourselves.
Yeah, we were. Yeah,
We were all like mustard seeds.
we all were like mustard seeds at one point. We were all babies. And we,
Well, I mean by our faith.
yeah, by our faith too. Well,
Quiet, calm down.
Hang on. Let me see. How many of you guys have planted in a garden? Or your parents have planted in a garden? Your grandparents have planted in a garden? Whatever the
I never
case.
saw a mustard seed in my
Whatever the case may be. You have seen.
I've never seen a mustard seed in my life.
You have. What do? You dig a hole, guys.
My whole life.
You dig a hole. You dig a hole. And then you put the seed in. And then
It's obvious.
and then it rains and the sun comes out. And then you have carrots or lettuce or
That's how
tomatoes
everything
or
grows.
cucumbers. That's how things grow. That's how things grow. Well, back when Jesus was around, he said in Matthew, he said this in Matthew 17:20. If a person has faith as small as a mustard seed, they can move mountains. That's faith. That's Matthew 17:20. So a mustard seed
As small as a mustard seed.
can move mountains. Matthew 17:20. So a faith, like we just said, a mustard seed. Maybe you got that picture? A mustard seed is very, very tiny, small. See how tiny that thing is?
That's a mustard seed.
See how tiny that
That's
thing
the
is?
smallest thing ever.
It doesn't seem like a whole lot. It doesn't seem like it's anything super big, super powerful. It's just over there. It's teeny, teeny,
grows.
teeny, teeny, tiny.
It's tiny like this. It's
Yes.
tiny and it grows into a mustard bottle.
Yeah, it's teeny, teeny, tiny. But like Mr. Doug said, and what Jesus said is that, hey, boys and girls,
Pay
sometimes our faith can be like a mustard seed.
Yup.
Our faith can seem pretty teeny, 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 tiny, tiny, tiny. I know, Natalia, the water is coming out. Just pretend you're at a beach. It's fun. It's perfectly fun. Just pretend you're at a beach and the waves are coming splash you in your
I don't
face.
like beaches. I love that.
So,
Private
our faith, boys and girls, shh. Because we've spent the past 8
Waterfall.
weeks talking about faith.
Water park?
Boys and girls, if you can't pay attention, you're gonna have to go with the adults, the
Yeah.
ones who are distracting. We're not kidding.
Mr. Dog and Andrew can start taking people out if they have to.
Next person who makes a distraction is going with their parents. And if you guys think we're kidding, just watch us.
Thank you.
We've been talking about faith for the past 8 weeks, and I've been talking about on YouTube for the past 8 weeks, and we're going to continue talking about it this month and next month. So why are we talking so much about faith? Because, who can help me out? Why do you think I'm spending so much time, September, October, November, December, Sunday mornings, and on YouTube? Why am I spending this much time talking about faith? Michaela.
Because without faith, you can't really believe in anything.
That's right. Yeah. Angel, why do you think I'm spending all this time talking about faith?
I think
Michael.
it's because faith is really important.
Mhm.
God.
Mm-hmm. Elijah?
I just want to ask you something. You have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, every Tuesday, buddy.
I have to
Every
look
Tuesday.
up,
Just look up Liberty Kids Church and you'll see
today's
it.
Wednesday.
Liberty Kids Church and you'll see it.
I don't have all YouTube channels. I don't.
All right.
We were too much talking. What was it, Athena? Yeah, you need to have faith in God. Faith, those were all very good answers. Faith is the point of what we do. Because without faith, we're going to get more duct tape on that.
Just leave it.
Faith, like you guys said, faith in believing in God and what He did on the cross. Faith, well, the Bible says that faith without works is dead. And we're gonna get to that in a couple weeks coming up. And we're gonna talk about if our faith is real or if it's not real. But this whole point of faith as a mustard seed is because faith oftentimes in us starts as really teeny tiny, like Mr. Doug said. Our faith, all of our faith level starts off as a teeny tiny amount most of the time. And that's okay.
Come on, let's go to
Yes,
mom.
Elijah.
Yep. Yep. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I like how you said it. Mr. Doug, would you agree with Elijah that a little mustard seed faith is kind of like, yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, you don't really know. You're just starting out. It's literally the very, very beginning.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah.
So when you guys come to church for the first time, you never heard God before, heard about God before, you're the mustard seed.
Yeah.
So, and then every time you come back, you're growing a little bit. And then you're growing in your faith, because that's why you want to come here, right? You say, I believe in God, I have faith that He exists, and that's exactly what happens. We go from that mustard seed, and then we pick up from there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like how Elijah and Mr. Doug just said. I mean, like Elijah just said, and I heard a pastor that Andrew introduced me to on YouTube, and he talked about faith, and he said, like Elijah said, say it again nice and loud for me. What'd you say about mustard seed faith? So everybody can hear it?
When you're just starting out on your faith, you're like, I don't really know if that's going to happen.
Yeah. Putting our faith in God when you're first starting out is kind of like a maybe faith. It's about 50, you're kind of sitting there, you're praying like you're 50-50, I don't know if I can handle this or not, but you keep on putting your trust in God, you do it anyway, and it waters a little bit, and like Mr. Doug said, it starts and it turns into kind of like a baby faith. When you're not, you're a little bit of a mustard seed, you're at that next level, and you have the baby faith. Like Mr. Doug said, the more you come in, and you hear about faith, and you hear about God, your faith will grow and 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 grow. Just like when we plant a seed, it grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. So we're going to watch a video about from kids just like you guys and see what they have to say about this thing of faith like a mustard seed. Let's check this out.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, awesome.
Hey kids, have you ever thought about the size of your faith? If it was like a pair of shoes, would it be toddler size, kid size, or adult size? Do you think the size of your faith matters? Well, Jesus had some very important things to say about the size of your faith. He didn't want people to feel bad about how little faith they had. Sometimes followers of Jesus wondered if he was smart enough, or big enough, or strong enough. Whenever they had those thoughts, it showed that their faith was small. But Jesus wasn't worried about it because he knew a secret. Even just a teeny bit of faith is enough for God. Did you know that? Can you believe it? God doesn't need you to be a superhero of the faith who can fill some really, really big shoes. He just needs you to have a little bit of faith. And he can do a lot with it.
The apostles said to the Lord, "Show us how to increase our faith." The Lord answered, "If you had faith even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mulberry tree, 'May you be uprooted and thrown into the sea,' and it would obey you."
Did you know that the mustard seed is really, really small? They're tiny. I have like 5 of them right here. They're so small, I promise. That's why Jesus used them in his parable. Have you ever helped your parents plant in a garden?
Yes.
You use the little seeds in the packet. And after you water it and care for it, eventually it turns into a tomato, or a pumpkin, or a mustard. That's how seeds work, and that's how faith works. You see, a little faith in a big God is a big deal. Believing in Jesus isn't about how smart, or great, or faithful we are. It's about how great God is.
That's why a little faith goes a long way when we put our faith in the right place. Have you put your faith in Jesus?
If so, you can trust him to grow that faith a little more every day.
Our faith can grow a little more every day. It's like Mr. Doug was saying. When we come to church, when we come in and we learn about Jesus, our faith grows and grows. Yes, Sarah? Oh, you were just stretching? All right, go ahead, Elijah.
When Andrew was saying, yeah, it started to make me laugh.
I know, and I heard it too.
Oh, y'all heard that?
Yeah.
Kids have good hearing,
That's right.
unlike adults.
Anyway, so like they said, a little bit of faith in a big God is a big deal. And God doesn't, did you hear the part where they said God doesn't need us to have a whole lot of faith? Because he can do big things with just a little bit of faith. See, so like Elijah said, maybe some of you guys, as you've been hearing about this and you have situations, and you hear me talk about on Sunday mornings and Tuesday mornings on YouTube, and you hear me talk about faith, and you have these situations where you don't know. You may have some doubts. You don't know if your situation is too big for God to handle. And you're saying it's about 50-50. That used to be Andrew's favorite saying when he was a kid. When he was your guys' age, that's what Andrew said all the time. It's about 50-50.
It's about 1-1.
And maybe that's where some of you guys are at.
It's about 50.
Maybe you guys, of your faith, maybe that's where it is. Maybe you're like, it's about 50-50. And that's okay. That's all right. Or maybe you're a little bit past that, or as Mr. Doug called it, when you're like a baby, and that's fine. You have a little bit, you have a small amount of faith, that's fine. But the more and more you're in church, and the more and more you read your Bible, and the more and more you hear about God and you pray, like Mr. Doug said, it'll water your faith. It'll make your faith grow. It'll make your faith grow and grow and grow. I would like to have faith like it says in Hebrews chapter 11. Mr. Doug, have you ever read that? Of a hall of faith? In Hebrews chapter 11?
I don't think so.
Man, those dudes had some crazy faith.
Some crazy faith?
Some crazy
Faith is the one thing that I always struggle with sometimes.
It can be hard.
I mean, sometimes I have a situation where it's just like, ah.
Yeah.
And then people are like, just pray.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's exactly like that. So
Yeah.
even as adults, sometimes we have problems with our faith. Sometimes we question certain things and we shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think that it might get easier over time for some, but don't think that it doesn't happen to us adults too.
Right. Because Mr. Doug's right, it's happened to me recently. It happens to all of us, and that's okay. That's all right.
But that's why we have faith in God to
Yep.
takes care of our problems.
Yeah. And yes, it's easy. It's easier said than done. It's easier to say, just have faith. Praise God, go home. I could say that, but the real factor is, to be honest, I have faith, but the Detroit Lions are going to win every game. And it doesn't.
Everything's falling today.
I have faith that everything's gonna stay up next week. Who agrees?
Everybody
say amen.
First step,
All right,
first
but
step,
hey,
then that, then that.
but
Yes, we know, Taylor.
like Mr. Doug said,
Yeah, bye.
adults, even me,
Hey, pay attention.
even me as your children's pastor, I've had problems with it too. We all do. But like Mr. Doug said, that's why we have faith in God who can help us out through those times. That's why we can come and we can read the Bible, and it can be hard. It can be. Remember when I had you guys on the ladder at the very beginning?
Yeah. I was on the third step, boy.
And some of you guys, you were on the ladder, and for whatever reason, you were nervous to fall back.
Was I nervous? I wasn't nervous. Was
Some
I
of
nervous?
you guys were. Some of you guys were. Some of you guys
Hi.
were nervous to fall back.
I wasn't.
Some of you were okay with it.
I would have went all the way to the
Some
top.
of you guys were okay with it. No,
No,
that would
no,
have made me nervous if you went all the way to the
Did
top.
you go all the way to the top?
Well, some people do more things than others.
But I didn't
Yeah.
get to
In
go
their
on the
faith.
ladder.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So,
I
but
was at the-
thank you.
Huh? Huh? You're not a princess.
Cut the trust fall.
You're not a princess.
All right.
So even adults can be the same way.
Still got the hole.
Just like you guys were a little worried, like Mr. Doug just said, and I just said,
That's it.
sometimes adults can have a hard time with faith too.
Bye, Michael.
But that's why it's important to come to church and read our Bibles and pray so that our faith grows and grows and grows. And like Mr. Doug said, it may get easier for some people. Sometimes it may not. That's fine.
What did you come with?
But the thing is that we always have God who can help us grow our faith and water our faith. So I'm going to show you this little video, this little song about a mustard seed type faith.
I got a question.
Yes,
Why are you not wearing your robe anymore?
because it got too hot.
It was hot in this room.
I'm wearing my pajamas. I'm not hot. I have socks.
All right, let's watch the video.
These are my sisters.
Hands or feet, and my face is green. I'm just a little mustard seed, the tiniest seed you've ever seen. I'm so little, you could sneeze, and I would be gone. watcher made me shiver. Sun baked me till I cried. You can guess what that did to my pride. But soon it was the funniest thing. I grew out of the ground. I was tall and green. All of the birds of the air flew in and out of my hair and made a nest in my branches.
Mustard seed makes a tree.
Jesus said, on that you meet his faith as big as a mustard seed. Ask him to plant it in your heart. That's a very good place to start.
That's an old video. That was from when I was your guys' age, when TV show I used to watch all the time. It's called The Donut Man.
Oh
The
yeah.
Donut Man, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's The Donut Man.
No, like that's his actual
The
name.
Donut Man.
I've never heard
Does
of it.
he
Yeah,
sell
that's-
donuts?
That's not his real
Does he
name.
sell
but-
donuts? Does he sell
That was the
donuts?
name of his show. That was the
Oh,
name of
that's
the
why,
kid.
you know, I've never heard of the show.
Yeah.
Does he
that-
sell
that was-
donuts?
It was on the
But,
There's a
what
donut
did
man,
you
but
guys
what's
learn
your
about the
name?
video?
What did you guys learn from that little song?
I like your outfit.
Angel? Yeah, other than the fact that Pastor also watched some weird shows when he was a kid, what did you learn from that video?
That people can start off with a little faith and grow and get more faith as they learn
Mm-hmm.
about faith.
Yeah,
I learned
Elijah.
something, that a mustard seed is a tree.
I've never seen like what a mustard bush looks like, so I'm not sure if it was a tree or not. Maybe used a tree in that, but I'm not.
It looks like a tree.
It looked like a tree. You're right. It looked like a tree. Anybody else? What else did people learn from that little song?
They made a nest.
Yes, Angel. You got something else? I'll get you in a minute, Athena. Did you lose it? All right, Athena.
That when your faith is small as a mustard seed, it can grow to get as big as a tree.
Yeah, our faith can grow and grow and grow. Yes, sir.
The birds will fly on it.
The birds were flying on it. Yeah, yeah, they were. The
Yeah,
birds.
birds.
Yes.
watches weird shows.
Birds make nests.
Yes, I know. Yeah, you guys watch weird shows.
Probably
too.
still does.
I know. I used to watch Elmo.
All right.
Alright. But you know what? You know what I saw that Andrew did? Because he had, hold on, listen. That when Andrew fell back, that Pastor Austin was going to catch him. Now, faith can also be trying to overcome obstacles. Now, it was Andrew, but if it were me, I don't think he would be having much faith that he would be able to catch all of me. That's where God comes in to reinforce what we can't do by because we can't do anything without God, and we shouldn't do anything without God. But if we have God to reinforce, there's nothing we can't do. And that takes faith. That's why if I was to try to do the obstacle thing, I'm sure he would probably have Andrew try to help him. It's just a fact. Because, again, we all need a little reinforcement sometimes over some of the bigger obstacles in our life, even as kids. And that's where that faith grows. The more faith you have, the smaller the obstacle becomes, and the more your faith gets bigger. Just a thought.
That's right. And that's actually what we're going to talk about next week. So that's a nice little segue into next week's lesson of having faith to doing things with God. So if you want to hear more about that, come back next week. I'm going to need some volunteers. But
Okay, I'll go do a volunteer.
What?
Elijah's like, I believe that was, okay, I'm going to volunteer. I think that's what it was. So,
I heard volunteer.
yeah, I heard volunteer. That's all I heard. I don't know if it was I am going to volunteer or I'm not going to volunteer. But Mr. Doug is absolutely right, and that's why we're going to talk about that coming up next week. So thanks for the segue, Mr. Doug. A little teaser for next week's lesson.
I was gonna say thank you, Mr.
You
Doug.
didn't even know. I
Thank you,
didn't even-
Mr. Doug.
I didn't even
Thanks,
know,
Mr.
Mr.
Doug.
Doug. That's
You're
God.
welcome.
That's God doing his thing.
Bye.
But
Thank you, Mr. Doug.
that's why I'm talking about this today is because we all y'all, the adults, me, Andrew, Mr. Doug, Mrs. Bridget, everybody has sometimes faith is hard sometimes. I know my faith can still grow. I'm sure Andrew, can your faith still grow?
Oh, yeah. After we listened.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not like, no.
Andrew's faith can still grow. Mr. Doug, can your faith still grow?
I'm a work in progress, so
Yeah,
absolutely.
Me too. We're all work in progresses. I wish I could stand up here and tell you about that I had faith like Noah or Moses or Joseph or Jacob or all the bunch of guys that are mentioned in Hebrews chapter 11. If you want to know about them, go to the Kids Church channel and watch that, because I've been breaking down Hebrews chapter 11 the best I can. I wish I had faith like that,
But even those guys had problems with their faith.
Even those guys did.
Because Moses, when he was to go before Pharaoh, he was worried about how he was going to talk to Pharaoh, and he asked for someone to help him speak. And that's why he got Aaron.
Yep.
He questioned, he said, I don't know if I can do this. Even David had some issues. He said, I don't know if I can do this. There are times, there are great men of the Bible, great women of the Bible. They didn't know if they could have enough faith, but they did. They went to God. And that's why it's still important today for all of us.
Yeah.
Because those great people, and we can be great people too. We just gotta have a little faith.
So that's why I've spent the past 4 months, well, going to be 4 months, talking about faith, because it's important. Yeah, September, October, November, December.
It's also one of our armor pieces of God.
Yeah, the shield of faith. Mr. Doug is right. He's right. If you guys know the armor of God, they call it the shield of faith. So faith is very important. That's why we're spending all this time talking about it. I may use that.
What?
The shield of faith. That's a good lesson.
I've been waiting to get a gladius so I can do the sword of the Spirit.
I may use that. There may be either a lesson I hear on Sunday morning.
You may. You may not.
No.
It's about 50.
I probably will.
Oh.
Sounds more like 90-10.
It's more like 90-10. So, but we're going to pray. We're going to pray. Because some of us may have maybe faith, some of us may have maybe faith, and that's fine. But all of us, all our faiths can grow. You just heard I say mine can grow, Mr. Doug said his can grow, Andy said his can grow. There'll be adults in there, some of their girls, adults in there, some of their faith can grow. So we're going to pray. We're going to pray for our faith to grow. Yes, Elijah.
What time is it? What time do we have to leave? Because I don't want to leave.
We're leaving at 12. That's usually the time we always leave.
Anyway, beside the point.
We'll leave when Pastor Buddy's done. That's when
It is 12:12 right now, so you are wrong.
I know, man.
All right.
I was making it seem
Back
shorter.
on task.
Just making it seem shorter.
This is one of, hey, kids, I want to say, prayer time is one of the most important times. You may think it's okay to joke, but it's not. This is important. This is our communication with God.
So we're going to pray, because I know my faith can sometimes feel like a maybe faith or a maybe faith, where Elijah said it's about 50-50 in certain things. Can I trust God in that? Yes, you did. And you said when you start off in faith how it's a, I don't know. I've had situations in my life, even now.
Sounds like a 90-10.
Or sometimes maybe it seems like I just have maybe a little bit more faith, but I'm not a lot. I just have a baby amount of faith. But we're going to pray. So I want everybody to bow your head, close your eyes.
Close your eyes. Bow your heads, close your eyes. No one should be looking around.
Because the point is, boys and girls, is we've tried to make clear everybody can benefit from their faith growing. We're all work in progress, as Mr. Doug said. So Father God, this morning, I just pray for these boys and girls. I pray for all of us. Really, I pray for all the adults who are in the upper room. God, I know that faith can be hard sometimes, even for me. God, you know. For me personally, God, you know how there's been times in my life where I've struggled with having faith and trust in you. So God, I'm praying for myself, I'm praying for Andrew, I'm praying for Mr. Doug, I'm praying for all these boys and girls. Because we all can benefit from you watering and growing our faith. And making it be, and having our faith grow and grow and grow. So that maybe one day, for some, that we will always have faith in you and put our trust in you with no problems. And maybe for others, it won't be like that. But I thank you, God, that no matter what the case, as Mr. Doug said, you are our reinforcement. You're there to be a reinforcement for us, to help us out. Just like you did with all the men and women of the Bible. So Father God, as we get ready to leave here in just a little bit this morning, I pray for these boys and girls. I pray for Mr. Doug and Andrew. I pray for myself. Help us have our faith grow. As we come to church, as we read our Bibles at home, as we spend time hanging out with you, Father God, I just pray for all of us, for our faith to grow and grow and grow. In Jesus' name, and we all said, amen. All right.
Talk about a good cutoff point.
Yeah. He was like, enough.
So, I gotta ask, because, I mean, you know, we prayed. So how do you guys like Halloween with all the wonderful weather?
It was horrible.
It was horrible.
Yeah,
Did anybody stay inside on Halloween?
But I got free ice cream.
You guys have to get one person at a time.
I got a free
One person at a
I
time.
get free ice cream.
Just like the weather, you guys are all coming at me at once. Yes.
I just passed out candy and I only got 7 trick-or-treaters.
Only got 7? Did you give them a lot of candy because there's only 7 of them?
Yeah, so we just gave the rest to like our friends.
Good.
I get free ice cream every year.
Oh, okay. Elijah,
Can I tell you a joke?
I was asking about trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
What about your trick-or-treating? On Thursday, did you go out or did you stay in?
I stayed in.
You stayed in, you
And
didn't go out?
I had a trick-or-treat party at school and we had a parade.
Oh, that's fun. Yes,
And
sir.
we got to